Hi folks, Dan Grafe here, and today I want to give you my open and honest review of the Marketplace Superheroes private label Amazon FBA program. So this program teaches you how to sell private label products on Amazon. What does that mean? Well, essentially you go onto Amazon and you research and you find products which are simple and for the most part boring, where they are already selling well but there isn't that much competition. You then find out what works about the product, what doesn't work about the product, and if there's any way you could improve the value of that offer in the marketplace. You then source that product from a supplier, you apply your own branding to that product, you send those products into Amazon's warehouses where customers can then buy those products, and because they're distributed from Amazon's warehouses they get Amazon Prime delivery and all the other good things that come with Prime. Amazon take a cut of those sales and you're left with the difference. So first of all, I want to talk about what I found unique about this particular course. The first thing I really liked was the type of products that the course focused on. So as I said before, it focuses primarily on really simple, really boring items. Now this might sound counterintuitive. If you ask most people, they will want to start a business in something they're passionate about and have an active interest in. However, Marketplace Superheroes take a different approach. And it's not so much about what you're passionate in, but about where the market is appropriate and where the numbers work. So essentially you work through their research process, and if you look at the product and you can confidently say within that market you can compete, you can stand out, and you can get 100% return on your money, then it's a yes. The second thing that really drew me to this program, and something that just immediately made so much sense to me, was the fact that they focus very much on offer volume, i.e. selling lots of different products rather than focusing on a single product. The example that they like to give is a rule of 5 business. If you can sell 5 units of 5 different products in 5 different marketplaces at a $5 profit each, then over the course of a month that adds up to $18,750 profit. Now obviously the numbers don't have to be 5s, we could be talking 2s, 3s, 7s, 10s, but the concept remains the same. When you apply this in the context of Amazon's ecosystem, where you've got hundreds of millions of customers and you're only looking to get a few sales a day of a few products, and that scales up so quickly to that kind of profit level, that just immediately made so much sense to me. And the third thing I really liked about this was the fact that you're focusing on creating a real business from day one. So no shortcuts, no quick wins. Creating a real legal entity to run your business in, adhering to Amazon's terms of service so you're not going to get randomly kicked off the platform for misbehaving, declaring the correct duty rates for your products as they come in. You know, you're not trying to outdo the tax man and cut corners here and there. Everything in the course is really focused on doing things the right way. It's an investment for the long term, and so you should be doing things by the book and setting up your business properly. So what do you actually get for your money when you invest in this course? Well, the first thing you get is access to the core program. And the core program is essentially a long series of videos divided up into modules that take you step by step from researching products all the way through to actually getting set up and selling on the Amazon platform. The introductory module talks a lot about your mindset that you require as a business owner, how to retrain your mind to think more as an investor and less as a consumer. And it also lays out the principles behind the business model, like the rule of 5 we talked about earlier. You then quickly get onto the cornerstone of the business, which is the research process. They lay out which categories you should be selling in, what things you should be looking for, what things you should be avoiding, and how to figure out what products are selling enough, where there's too little competition, where there's too much competition, and generally where to find the best opportunities you can. Once you've found potential products, they show you how to look at that product within the market in which it sits. So maybe there's 5 competitors, maybe there's 10, maybe there's 20. They talk about how to weigh up whether this is a good opportunity for you based on the quality of your competitors and the volume of your competitors. If that all checks out and you found a product that works, you then move on to looking at how you could potentially improve the product, finding out what works, what doesn't work, and starting to think about reaching out to suppliers. They then delve into supplier communication, how to negotiate with suppliers, particularly with regard to bringing a product in for the first time, negotiating down the MOQ or minimum order quantity so that you can test that product in the market before you commit to putting down a lot of capital going forward. At this point, they also teach you how to go about setting up your limited company in which you'll be running your business and why that is really important to get right from the start. Next, they go really in depth in the importing process and talk about sea shipping in particular, which many Amazon sellers don't utilise to their detriment, why it's so profitable and how to do it the correct way. They then talk about how to create world-class listings with great photography, great bullet points, great descriptions and great titles, and also how to delve in both manually and using different keyword research tools to find keywords which are important for Amazon to rank your product and also for customers to come in and find your product based on what they're looking for. They also teach you how to use Amazon sponsored products, which is Amazon's pay-per-click advertising model. How to utilise this to increase both your organic and your paid sales, and how to track that over time and manage your spend. And once you've got all this in place, they talk about layering strategies on top of that, how to expand globally, and generally how to increase your profits as your business grows and grows. Now, if this sounds like a lot of information, then never fear, because in each of these modules, at the end of the module, they will set up building blocks. And these are actions that you need to go away and take. They're very specific and very actionable. And the recommendation from them is do not move on to the next module until you've completed those actions. This is something that I found extremely motivating, and it basically means that someone else is telling you exactly what you need to do in order to move your business to the next stage. For me, it took all of the confusion and the doubt and the analysis paralysis out of the process. I just trusted in somebody else, they told me what to do, I took the action, and once I'd taken the action, I could move on to the next stage. The second thing you get access to is a whole suite of tools and software. The piece of software you'll be using the most, especially at the start, is the 4S product Gauntlet. This is essentially a software version of their research process, where you will input listings from Amazon where you think you can create a better offer, and it will steadily move through each stage of the gauntlet, and if it's still ruled in, it will go through. If it gets ruled out, it'll get kicked out. That's why they call it the product gauntlet. And this is where you'll whittle down the potential opportunities into your best opportunities. The best thing about this tool is the fact that it's got an inbuilt profit calculator. So long as you provide it the parameters it needs, which you'll get from potential suppliers when you reach out to them, it can tell you exactly to the penny what your profit will be on any individual sales. This is fantastic because the software does all the heavy lifting and number crunching for you and lets you prioritize all your potential opportunities and only take forward those opportunities that make the most sense. For example, those where you double your money or more. The third thing you get is access to the Marketplace Superheroes Facebook community. This is an active community of around 4,000 members, all of which have gone through the same core material as you, where you can discuss your goals, your pain points, your frustrations, and generally find answers to most of the questions you have during your business journey. They have a core team of people who actively monitor the Facebook group and answer questions, and often actually those come from Stephen and Robert, the founders themselves. They're on there daily. If you've got questions, you'll quite often get an answer directly from them. And even if you don't get an answer directly from the Marketplace Superheroes team, there are people of all different levels in that group, and you'll get an answer from someone with more experience, maybe someone who's a little more advanced in their business. The other great thing about the group is because it's about 4 years old now, if you have a question, you can often just go into the group, go to the search bar, type in your query, and you'll find that someone else has already asked that question before. So there's a whole bank of knowledge there at your fingertips. So maybe you're wondering about, do I have to have my labels on my products translated, for example? You could go and type that in, and there will already be someone who's asked that question before, and you're immediately able to get to the root of your question. Stephen and Robert, who run the course, will often also put on additional things like live Facebook videos, where they'll go a little bit deeper into topics like research or analysing markets, and basically just providing a bit of extra value back to the community. And the great thing about these sessions is that they're interactive. So if you've got a question, you can just raise your hand and you can come on video and talk to them face to face, or you can type your question in the chat and they'll get back to you right away. And because you're going straight to the horse's mouth, as they say, you know the information you're getting is the best you can get. The additional thing you get from signing up to the core program is that you get access to all their other services, which help your Amazon business run more smoothly and more cost effectively. So they've got their own freight service. They run consolidated containers from China to the UK and the US, as well as from the UK to the US and vice versa. And you're able to buy space in that container at a really good rate, because they only sell space to members of the community and they run the full container. So they're able to pass on excellent rates to members of the community, and it's shared between them. They also have professional accountancy services, so they're able to set up your company, they're able to do your bookkeeping and your end of year tax returns. They also have professional photography services to make sure that the images on your listings are top notch and conform to all of Amazon's terms of service. They also offer a dedicated Amazon pay-per-click advertising course where they go a lot more in depth into how to set up your campaigns to be much more profitable over the long term and really dial in your advertising spend. And if you're struggling with motivation and accountability, they run a program for that where you get access to a separate Facebook group and direct access to members of the Marketplace Superheroes community who essentially keep you on track and keep you honest. They make sure that you're taking action at every stage, you're documenting what you want to do, what you've achieved, what you haven't achieved, and staying true to your goals. So overall, here are my thoughts about the course. In terms of the good, I would say that Stephen and Robert are both excellent teachers. They have very different styles. The best analogy I can give is that Robert is a bit like the stern dad who kind of scolds you if you don't heed advice or if you don't take action on something that you should have. And Stephen's a bit like your bubbly friend who keeps you motivated and keeps you going and keeps you on the right path. I find both approaches really motivating actually, and combined I think it forms a perfect storm that pushes you forward and makes you take action. Like I said before, I particularly love the fact that in every video module they said, here are the actions you have to take and don't move forward until they're done. I thought that was really clever, and especially for beginner entrepreneurs where they're a bit nervous, they're not quite sure what to do. this is like, well, you don't worry about it. We'll tell you what to do. You just go take the action. Once you've taken the action, move forward. I thought that was great, and it really spurred me on personally to go faster than I would have otherwise. In terms of my business, in the space of 3 months, I had researched hundreds of products, reached out to 70 plus suppliers, and eventually settled on 3 products which I'd invested in, and I had my limited company set up, and I was ready to get that business moving. The second thing I'd say is that the course and the community as a whole really just completely changed my mindset, from someone who potentially wasn't that interested in being a business owner at all to someone who very quickly owns a business and has the confidence to run that in the long term and really believe in that business and believe that it can scale, that it can grow, and that it can provide income for myself and my family in the long term. In terms of the bad, what I would say is that the course material isn't as polished as some other courses out there. There are definitely a few instances where the editing isn't perfect, the video and audio are out of sync, and also I would say that to an extent they're a victim of their own success, because they're now building out all of these extra services that I talked about, like freight and accountancy and photography. The course itself doesn't actually mention those, and so you might end up proceeding down a path with something other than their services without realising they exist. And so if you do decide this is something for you, I would definitely keep an eye on the Facebook group and search some of the topics like that before you go investing in things to see if marketplace superheroes have something you could take advantage of. In terms of the accuracy of the course content with regards to Amazon, I found it very good overall. There was only really one issue I had, which was to do with barcodes. Amazon now insist that you use barcodes from a company called GS1, which just basically ensures that they are unique to you. And the course material suggested something a bit different, and I ended up investing in some barcodes which I couldn't use, which was essentially a sunk cost of about £50 for me. It wasn't the end of the world, but it's something that they could definitely improve on and rework if they redo the course material again. So, the final verdict. Would I recommend this course? 100% resounding yes. If you're someone who's interested in making passive income and having more financial freedom in your life, then I definitely recommend that you check out this course. You're going to learn a whole lot of new skills. You'll be immersed in a community of people who are very much moving towards the same goal, and you're going to build something which is extremely profitable, not just in the short term but in the long term. For me, I went into this as someone who was a bit nervous, a bit unsure. I'd never invested this sort of money in myself from a personal development point of view or from a business point of view, and I came out kind of a different person at the other end, someone who was really confident they'd built something stable, something strong, and something that was going to provide for them in the long term. Looking back, I'd say the investment in this course is actually really reasonable, especially given the climate that we live in just now, where there's Amazon gurus everywhere who are touting courses that are going to change your life, give you overnight success, and basically just smoke and mirrors, when this program actually really focuses on, these are 2 guys who are real businessmen teaching you how to make a real business and create something which is going to sustain in the long term. So if this sounds like something you'd be interested in, I'm going to leave a link to the Marketplace Superheroes course in the description below. I highly recommend you go check that out. You can go watch the webinar presented by Robert and Stephen themselves and decide if this opportunity is for you. There's also a 30-day money-back guarantee on the course itself, so you really don't have anything to lose by signing up and giving it a shot. If you like it as much as I do and believe in it as much as I do, I really think it's a decision you will not regret, and it could set you up very nicely for the future. That's the end of the video for today. If you liked what you saw, if you could go ahead and hit that like button, that would really help the channel out. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, then hit subscribe, and if you tap the bell icon, you'll be notified when new videos come out. Either way, until next time, catch you later.